3 o'clock, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Louis Trujillo,
Present.
Councilor David Romero, Councilor Elaine Rodriguez. Present. Councilor Michael Montoya,
Present.
Councilor David Ulibarri Jr.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, we do have a quorum.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to just take some time to thank all our employees that worked so hard last week for our community and for our citizens and for our visitors. I think everyone was out there. I saw people from the streets and from solid waste and the city police and public works and the parks, and it turned out really nice. And Chuck Grego and the Fiesta Committee, thanks for pulling this off, and thank you for everybody for working so hard to make the fiestas happen. So in Thanksgiving, I'd just like to take a moment of silence for all our city employees. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda. So move, Mr. Mayor. There's a motion on the floor by Mr. Montoya to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Second by Dr. Rodriguez. Roll call, please.
Councilor Ulibarri Jr.,
Yes.
Councilor Montoya,
Yes.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes.
I have a motion by Councilor Montoya, second by Councilor Rodriguez. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we have no public input at this time, so we can move on to the next item, which is approval of minutes for June 9th and June 16th, 2021.
What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. Mayor, I had a question on one of the minutes here, follow-up question on it. Anyway, I highlighted it, but I can't find it. But I wanted to ask Maria what the follow-up was on CAE de las Escuelas and the negotiations to widen that street at the same time that we'll be doing on this project.
Mayor, councilors, we put together a MOU with the city attorney based on the directions from the city council. The engineer came back with 28 feet to be recommended. We contacted Mr. Lopez, provided him a copy of that MOU, and he said he was in agreement with it and believes he could probably give us a couple more feet, but we'll make that determination once the building is knocked down. Currently, the MOU is being run through.
Now, what was it before? The amount of the width?
The width, I think we started 23, then 26, and now we're at 28.
Okay.
That our engineer did run some tests on that, used their traffic engineering software, and determined that was the width that was needed for a fire truck with a vehicle in the oncoming traffic.
Okay, and do you have the estimates for the funding and the source?
The 15,000 will come out of the general fund.
The what?
General fund,
15,000?
15,000.
It's 15,000 now?
15,000, yes. That was what was presented to council.
I thought it was 30,000.
I didn't think it was 15.
I thought it was 30,000.
It's 15,000,
15,000.
yes.
Okay. Okay.
The 15,000 is the portion the city will pay. Let me make sure I'm clear on your question.
Oh.
15,000 is the portion the city will pay. The estimates were one was in the 40s and one was in the 30s. If you're talking about the cost estimate for demo,
Oh, okay.
but the portion the city will pay will be roughly 15, or actually 15.
On top of the 50?
No,
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
15,000 will be what will come out of the city's, what the city committed to assist helping us.
Okay, is that anything going to come back before us?
No, we did it in a method that we wouldn't be bringing it back to you. We took all the direction from the council and put it into that
Okay.
MOU.
And that's going to square it up with the 42 feet in the back?
That's the one that will widen it enough so it won't necessarily square it up, but it'll definitely square it up more.
And that leaves him with how many feet on that end?
I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but it's
Yeah, okay.
about, again, he agreed to meet us out there on the property and probably possibly give us more, but it won't be any less than 28.
Okay, well, let's go for the more. With that, Mr. Mayor, if there's no questions, I will make a motion to approve minutes from July, and June the 9th and June the 16th of 2021.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by Mr.
Second.
Montoya, second by Mr. Olivari. Roll call, please.
Counselor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Olivari Jr.?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, second by Counselor Olivari Jr. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, next we have business items. Item 1, request approval to award request for proposal RFP number 21-26 to Hayes Plumbing and Heating for the National Avenue, Bridge Street, and Plaza Park Road project, and to authorize the city manager and staff to negotiate and enter into contract with Hayes Plumbing and Heating. We have our Utilities Director, Maria Gilbury.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Councilors. As everybody knows, this is Danny. He is our Public Works Manager. This is Antonio. He is our roads project observer and experienced person. He came from DOT, and so he brings a lot of experience in on the road projects that we're working on. So as Cassandra said, we'd like the approval to award to Hayes and authorize the city manager and staff to negotiate and enter into contract with Hayes. First thing is a personal disclosure. My son does work for Hayes. He is a plumber's apprentice, I believe. On June 9th, the city submitted an RFP for publication in the Optic and the Albuquerque Journal for this Plaza Bridge Street National Project. Between the city's project management team and the city's engineer, approximately, I think it was about 12 to 15 contractors were contacted, some by phone and some by email, to let them know about this project, some by our engineering staff and some by city staff. Proposals were received and opened on July 1st by our city's procurement officer. There were two proposers at the time, Desert Fox and Hayes Plumbing and Heating. Proposals were evaluated on July 1st. The evaluation committee included 5 people, 2 from Stantec, the engineering firm, 2 from our Public Works Streets Division, and 1 from project management. The company that ranked higher was Hayes Plumbing and Heating. Per the engineer, Hayes was ranked higher due to their understanding in their proposal of the scope of work, the site, and existing conditions. The engineer and the selection committee both recommended awarding to Hayes Plumbing and Heating. The DOT funding that we have is approximately $1.3 million. We do have an additional funding of about $18,000 that was provided from the legislature for some electrical work. So because there is some electrical work in that and because of the cost of the proposal, we're trying to lump as much funding together as we can to be able to afford this project. Hayes proposed with 4 local subs: Billingsley Engineering, Highlands Construction, Electric Horseman, JR Striping, and Desert Fox proposed with 1 local sub. So in dollar amounts, with Hayes, that would be about $1.3 million of the project that would stay local. With Desert Fox, that would be $500,000 that would stay local. Subsequent to receiving these proposals, Desert Fox, we received notice from Desert Fox they were withdrawing their proposal. And again, at that point, Hayes had already been selected and recommended by the engineer for the company to receive the, to have the contract awarded. Now, because we do have a larger cost in this project than the funding, we are going to, we're requesting as part of our request here to be able to communicate and discuss with the contractor to make sure that there aren't any areas where they may have inadvertently overestimated, and try and reduce the cost of the project as much as possible. We will get the cost of this project within funding, whether it's a combination of DOT, the additional funding that we have from the legislature, reduction in the cost of the project, and if the last thing we need to do would be to work within city funding. I've talked with the city manager. We have some areas where we would be able to ensure that we stay within budget.
I have a question for you, Maria. When do we plan on breaking ground? And what is the estimated time of completion from the time we break ground?
So right now, if this is awarded to Hayes today, we will be meeting with Hayes right after this to start the discussions. Get into contract hopefully by the end of the week.
Okay.
Give them a notice of award and notice to proceed by next week. They've already been notified they need to start ASAP. They are prepared to start right away. I would expect right away being mid to late next week. And then 180 days, sorry, Mayor, to answer your question. I believe it's 180 days for the majority of the project and then 60 days for final completion.
Yeah, right.
So substantial completion in 180 days and then 60 additional days for final.
The other issue is I'd like for there to be a couple of meetings with the business community. And so have those been planned or?
As soon as we get the schedule, which we expect here very soon, we will be meeting with the business community right away, and then I intend to be putting out weekly PSAs to update the entire community on the status of the project and how traffic control will be handled, how it'll impact the public and how it will impact the businesses. And then, yes, we will be having meetings, regular meetings with the business owners, really at the point where it's beneficial. We'll get a feeling if weekly is beneficial, if monthly is beneficial. I don't want to do a meeting just to have a meeting, but if there's absolutely things we need to keep the public, the business owners in particular informed of, we absolutely will.
And tell me, is there any possibility of the contractor working at night?
That would be something we'll present to them to make sure it's they will be required to complete this project within the time allotted, and all 24 hours a day is available for them to work within the safety, obviously, of the employees.
Okay.
I know that sometimes working at night can be better, especially in that area. But we don't want to impact anybody who's sleeping either, so.
Right. Thank you.
I think those were the main points. I have Antonio here if there's any technical questions on the project, and Danny as well. So, does anybody have any questions?
Mr. Romero? So Maria, you said Desert Fox withdrew their bid.
Yes, sir.
For the record, did you have any contact with either of the company after the RFP was opened up?
I did not.
At all?
I did not.
Thank you. Mr. Montoya?
Yeah. When was the date of this engineer's estimate report sent out on those figures? Was
Which
that
one?
last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, or a month ago?
The engineers,
Yeah,
Engineer's estimate?
the bid tabulations.
the bid tabulations, we just calculated those. I mean, the bid tabulations were received on July 1st, and
So who did the estimates on the engineering part?
that would have been Stantec, the engineering company. This is from a year ago? Okay.
A year
So a
ago.
year ago.
So, and this project, the total amount was, what was it, 1.968?
It is, with all three ad alternate, it is 1.898.
Okay, so it's $500,000 over what we had anticipated and what we had gotten from DOT,
Roughly, yes,
roughly.
yes, sir.
And I guess all that's due to the pandemic and the shortage of materials and increase of asphalt and increase of oil.
I don't believe all of that is. I think that there's some cost in here that don't make sense, and I think maybe they overestimated, and that's why we want to have that communication with them to make sure that the cost estimates they gave us are correct, and if they are,
Yeah. Also, I've been going through the plans, the quantities. There's a lot of stuff there that I'll be able to eliminate that's not necessary for that project. They were just put in there, like they usually do on a project. They add clearing and grubbing, they add different things to the project. There's a lot of that stuff that we're not going to be needing. There's a lot of it that I could cut down on half. I'm already looking at probably with what I'm seeing, almost 200,000, from 100 to 200,000 less already. And then whatever we work out with Hayes, once we get this thing, it might be more.
Okay, because that was my first question, and that's the first item you had on there, is clearing and grubbing.
Clearing and grubbing is not necessary, all of it, only a portion of it for the mediums.
Yeah, and that's why I was asking when those engineering estimates were done and who they were done by. Because $2,500 to versus $35,000 is a big difference.
Yes.
Subgrading preparations, the same thing, they're like 5 times higher. Those are just some things that I think you guys need to look at.
All these things
Yes.
that I've already told you include subgrade prep, includes all of it. Most of subgrade prep is gonna be cut down because we only need subgrade prep on the areas that we're gonna do full reconstruction, which are a lot smaller than the whole quantity asks for, but they always put a whole quantity on there. Like I said, it's gonna already be deducted by close from 100 to 200,000 from all the stuff that I've been seeing in here that I know that we can do
So
without.
does video
Right.
recording is in your list?
Video recording,
Yeah.
I don't know how much they charge for that, I've never done that on the
Okay, because
DOT side.
that's estimated at 10,000, and Fox bid it 10,000, and Hayes bid it 1,000.
Yeah, it'll be
So I'm
1,000.
not sure that's,
That was,
That needs to-
that must have been an error on one of the bidders' thing. It's only 1,000. All you're gonna do is video recorded it before and after.
and then the next item, which is traffic control management.
Yeah, that's a
estimated
big one.
engineer
Okay,
is
traffic control management.
25,000, excuse me,
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
25,000, and Hayes Plumbing is charging $185,000. That's way,
Yeah, some of this stuff that I'm looking at would be some of the stuff that I'm gonna get with a contractor to see why they're so high and see how we can eliminate some of that money.
because that's like $160,000.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Mayor and Council, we are actually going to go line by line with the contractor and have him review all of these and make sure that these are correct or adjust if they are not correct.
Perfect. And I understand, Maria, the timeframe, when was this money supposed to be spent? Like when? Today?
It's a 2-year project, it's supposed to,
Yeah, but it was supposed to be let out by when?
we have by the 19th to the big ground.
The 19th to break ground. And I understand we're kind of like at the last minute here, but this shouldn't be happening. And I understand the pandemic, and I understand that there's tons of months of work in highways that we're not going to be, we're lucky we got a contractor to do this, to tell you the truth. Because the amount of work that's going to be and the amount of money, $368 billion that are coming down, trickling down to the state, I mean, that's going to be a lot of work and no employees. That's what it's going to amount to. Had you considered the change orders in here? Because I didn't see any.
There won't be any change orders to increase anything. There might be change orders to decrease money, but I don't foresee any change orders to increase anything. Until we break ground, I can't tell you what's underneath.
And that's what I'm getting at, is,
But I can work with a contractor to where we don't end up. I can take from Paul, let's say, and give a little to Dave and not overrun the project. I'm doing 3 projects right now, or 4 projects, and I've been able to utilize some monies from some areas that we can take off and do it on other areas, and we don't have any change orders that will
Okay,
add money. I'm here to save money for the city and get the best product possible, and that's why I'm out there to do that.
that's why I'm asking
And we
these
won't get
questions.
any change orders for more money.
Yeah, and that's why I'm asking these questions, because I don't want you coming back to us and saying, we have 5 change orders, and it's going to cost us $100,000 down the road.
No, you won't get that.
So that's why I'm asking. So no change orders, because you never know what's underneath the ground.
Yeah,
You don't know
I
what you're going to
understand.
encounter.
And that's where we'll work with the other portions of the project
Yes.
to make sure we stay within the current budget.
And the
I
other
did
thing-
receive a note from our engineer, by the way, that said that I was asked why there were 10-plus, 12-plus contractors that we contacted and why they didn't want to or chose not to propose. The response that I received was they already have projects, they're 6 months out before they could ever start this project. So it wasn't that they didn't want it, it's they couldn't do it within our timeframe.
Yeah, I understand. I caution you to caution the contractor, these urban projects, they're very difficult in some sense, but they're very sensitive due to our business community in that area and also the historical preservation of the buildings. You get a vibrator in there that's too big and start cracking buildings, I mean, we're not going to be responsible for it. It's going to be the contractor. I just caution you to question them about stuff like that. And mostly important, the thing that the mayor touched on is good communication with the public and with the business community down there, because we want this project to go through smoothly with as less headaches as possible. It's a long time coming project, well-deserved, we qualified for it, and we want to make sure that, that we do it right. One last question for our city manager. Is this your recommendation, sir?
Yes, sir. We've looked at any other options that are feasible at this time, being that we're tied to our time restraints. I think that we can make it happen with Hayes Plumbing at this point. Ms. Guevara and myself kind of went through line by line, like she mentioned, to identify some items that were way over what the engineer estimated, so we can try to pull that back to where we're at with the budget, with what's left with the budget.
And another thing is, I like the fact that, $1.3 million out of this is going to stay local. That's important to us, instead of getting subcontractors from out of our city limits or out of the states to come in here and take our money. So who's the contract? Fox is going to be subcontracting under Hayes?
Desert Fox is a subcontractor. Highland Construction is a subcontractor. JR Striping is a subcontractor. Electric Horseman and Billingsley Engineering.
That might be another area that I saw in there, the striping that needs to be adjusted on there.
Yeah, I'll try to negotiate on that one too. I gotta go back through the prices that I had on these other ones and see why this one's high. I'll get you some money back.
So if we
Sorry,
approve
sir.
this tonight, under your negotiations, are you going to let us know, bring it back to us, or how are you anticipating of doing that?
Counselor, Mr. Mayor, Counselor, we will be getting this within the budget tonight, and then I will be bringing it to the city manager for signing of the contract and moving forward with I presume the direction of the council would be to stay within budget. We don't have time to really bring this back. But the commitment from myself, staff, city manager has been, this will be within the budget.
Well, if it goes through, can you make sure that we all get an email or a note saying what kind of an adjustment we got?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I guess just a general question. It's my understanding this is an overlay, correct? It's not a rip out?
Not all of it.
It's milling and inlaying on some areas. It's full reconstruction on other areas, which means you tear down all the way to the subgrade, start from the subgrade up.
Okay.
But those are the portions from the stop sign into the plaza.
Okay.
On the side streets, I think those are the ones that are reconstruction.
Okay.
There's a lot of electrical, water lines, sewer, I think, and some other stuff that's in there. But those, what I'm gonna do with those is I won't pave those, because if you pull it out and pave it, then you have to come back and take it out again and pave it. We're repaving twice, so I'm just gonna get it 2 grade with base course and eliminate using hot mix twice. That'll save us on some of the money and stuff. And as per business order and stuff, I'll be with them every day on a daily basis to let them know what's going on.
Okay.
I will be there daily.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I got a question.
Go ahead. Mr. Romero, you're next. Sorry. Go ahead.
Maria, is any of the islands getting pulled out completely?
I got that. No, sir. They're going to only work on one of the islands, the one going in towards the plaza from 12th Street, Bridge Street. That's going to be worked on, but it's going to be renewed and build a little better. And that's the only one that has anything that's going to be worked on. It's not going to be removed completely. It's going to be improved.
Okay. Another thing, on the project on King Street, I know that I talked to you a couple of times, and your asphalt, your asphalt doesn't come to specs, and you're having problems with it, that you're going to have to pull it out, and
No, I'm
we're
working
having
on-
desert
Yeah, I
work
understand.
on this project too.
Yeah, we're working on that right now. By removing some on King Street, we're working on it to where I'm going to try to make sure that they start bringing it in specs right away. They have that job to get it in specs, but when we do that one, we don't have no problems about removing it and replacing.
Because it's the same company that's going to do
I think so. I think it's Vulcan.
because,
Mr. Mayor and Councilors, on that one, the issue, the big issue we had the first time, and I believe the schools also had the issue, was there wasn't enough oil in the asphalt. Looks like they're trying to save money because oil's so expensive. They've been shorting the asphalt oil, so That's where Antonio's going to work with the contractor to make sure that the
Yeah, the reason
asphalt
I'm asking
company-
is because we got those of us working on this project, and, you know, you see, the project at King Street, it's been, you see, you overlaid it for 3.5 inches, and then you went back and did another 2 inches.
1 inch and a half.
And the asphalt hasn't passed at all, so on this project on the plaza, if you have that kind of problems, it's gonna be a mess.
We should be able to eliminate that problem by the time we start paving at the plaza.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Romero?
So, Maria, I know, it's probably discouraging to you, but I want to, for transparency purposes, again, could you disclose that you do have a family member working with Hays Plumbing?
She already did.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Prior to you being.
Okay, and then also, a suggestion to city manager, we all know that, there is people in our community that think that there's a conflict. Just if you could also keep an oversight as far as the project to make sure that we do have that extra set of eyes.
Definitely.
Thank you.
I think we'll address the issues that we've brought up now prior to this event starting, prior to the mix coming into town, so that they know that we're already dealing with it somewhere else. We don't want to deal with it on this project, so make sure it meets spec before you even lay it down, kind of thing. So we'll address all those things prior to them getting put in, installed.
Good. Thank you. What's the pleasure of the council?
Another question?
What's it?
I have a question.
Council Mayor, I have a few questions because our police department's right there, and I'm all about safety. Are you gonna need us for blocking? Are you gonna tear up the whole street where we can't get fire trucks down it or our officers down it? or
We
anything
will
like
have
that?
access in and out of all that area at all times.
And we will coordinate with you as well.
Yeah.
And any work that is done in the area, we'll make sure you're fully aware of. the
Because
schedule.
sometimes we do go down
Yes,
Plaza
we-
Street to get to like 12th Street or whatever. I just want to make sure that,
You will have access at all
okay,
times.
that in case we have to go around or whatever. Just to
Have
make sure we're safe.
Has staff gone to the business owners already and gotten some input or feedback already? Or no?
The routes and the,
Down Bridge Street?
we have presented to the business owners this project. And that we would be keeping one lane open or keeping the inner or outer. We would always make sure that there was traffic, ways for traffic to move. We did let the business owners know that.
Are they being pretty positive or negative or?
They're as positive as they can be. They do know that it's going to be impactful, and that there's no way we can 100% avoid impacting them, but that we will work with them to try and either direct traffic to Valencia and Moreno, to other parking areas, and also make as much of the roadway available inside the plaza to continue business. And get this done as quickly as possible.
I think one idea that I heard was during this time is to do some PR, public relations, on the radio saying all businesses are open, please come and visit. The roads might be closed, but the stores are open, that type of public relations. I think that would help a lot. And then maybe we could speak with the Las Vegas First Business Alliance as well and have them get on board with an ad campaign, just letting people know that those, restaurants and stores are open. They're, do some kind of public relations.
We can do that, absolutely.
Has Chuck and movie industry been notified?
They have been notified.
Well, that's okay.
Mr. Stumberg?
Would it be easier, I know you said one lane open, but if it's one lane open, is it the westbound traffic that's gonna come up?
And that's where we're gonna have to work.
Get gridlock, or is it gonna
That's
be
where we're gonna
the
have to
eastbound
work
traffic?
with
Yeah.
our observer and
Or would it be
the
easier
contractor
just
to
to-
make sure we get the work done safely and allow for traffic. So,
Or could we just block it off and then you could park in Valencia and walk into the plaza? And I just know how things go and how people drive, and when we're doing stuff like that, and I've been in construction, things are going on, to me sometimes it's just easier to shut it.
Shut it down?
And get it done, but they still have access to go in, and I have no problem going with you guys and talking to the business owners. I did it for the Fiestas, they're really nice people, just to be safe, that it's easier that way, because I know what's gonna happen is westbound's gonna come, and then someone's gonna try to go eastbound, and then...
absolutely, that's where we want input from the contractor as well, because it's their guys that are gonna be out there, and we wanna make sure that whatever they're recommending and whatever is happening is least impactful to the businesses, but safe for the contractors.
And it's my recommendation that you set up maybe a weekly meeting, like a, half hour, even 15-minute meeting with the merchants who want to attend at one of the coffee places or at the Plaza Park on each Monday, just saying, this is the plan for the week. We're this far, we're 40% complete, this is just to keep people aware so that they won't start calling and asking questions, and they'll be fully aware of everything.
Absolutely. We already planned on doing PSAs and stuff like that, and it's the same information. We are aware that not everybody listens to the radio or reads the newspaper or
Right.
gets on social media, and I think getting it out to the business owners will be a big impact, so
Perfect.
absolutely.
I'll entertain a motion for this agenda item.
Mayor, I have one more question. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
Mr. Stenberg.
Friday night frescoes, is that going to impact our safety there?
I'll have to talk with Chuck, because we did let him know that we would need to work with him on.
Because I know if they leave their heavy equipment there, kids love to play on them,
People will just have to park and walk like they do in any other city.
Okay.
You go to an event in Albuquerque, you have to walk 5 blocks to where you're going, so.
We'll have Valencia parking is always
Yeah.
open. We'll have utilities parking available if necessary, and keep people safe.
We'll have a lot of healthier people in Vegas too.
Yeah. Little back from
I just
another-
know, because come Friday night, the first night when this breaks ground, Friday night's going to be, where are we going, what are we doing? So I want to get on the radio before that to say, yeah,
There's
our
big parking
lot,
lots on Valencia, and there's big parking lots. Maybe we can work with West to
Right.
see if they'll let us park there.
Coming
but-
through North Gonzales, okay.
And I'll be making my rounds, if there's going to be traffic control set up overnight, I'll be making my rounds at least once a night to make sure that everything's up. If it's not, I'll be calling the contractor to make sure everything's assured to be safe.
So this project should be completed by May 22nd of 2022,
180 days, pretty close.
or less. And is there anything here that, if there's any per day penalties if they go beyond that?
Beyond that, yeah, it's, I'm not sure, it's $2,500 a day or 1,500? 1,500 or something like that, a day if they go over.
Okay. With that, Mr. Mayor, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the award to Hayes Plumbing and Heating, the National Avenue, Bridge Street area, Plaza area road project, and to authorize the city of Las Vegas and staff to negotiate and enter into a contract with Hayes Plumbing and Heating.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor by Mr. Montoya, second by Mr. Ulibarri. Roll call, please.
Counselor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Counselor Olivari Junior?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, a second by Counselor Olivari Junior. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Councilors.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Maria. Appreciate all your
And I
work.
hadn't met all of you, so it was nice
I
to meet you
know.
all.
It's nice to put a face to the name.
Oh, okay, I thought you were going to say something else, but usually it's what they call me. We ask you for shade, please.
It's a pleasure to council. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. There's a motion by Mr. Ulibarri, second.
A second.
Second by Dr. Rodriguez. Roll call, please.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Counselor Olivari Junior?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Olivari Junior, second by Counselor Rodriguez. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you.